Genesis chapter 18. And God appeared to him by the oak of Mamre, as he sat by the door of his tent at noon. And having lifted up his eyes, he saw, and behold, 3 men stood near him. And having seen them, he ran to meet them from the door of his tent, and did obeisance to the ground. And he said, Lord, if I have found grace in thy sight, pass not by thy servant. Let water now be brought, and wash your feet, and refresh yourselves under the tree. And I will bring bread, and ye shall eat, and afterwards ye shall depart on your journey, for therefore ye have turned aside to your servant. And they said, So do, as thou hast said. And Abram hasted into the tent to Sarah, and said to her, Hasten, and knead 3 measures of fine flour, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abram ran to the herd, and took a calf tender and good, and gave it to the servant, and he hasted to prepare it. And he took butter and milk, and the calf which he had prepared, and set them before them, and they ate. And he stood by them under the tree. And he said to him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he answered, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will surely return to thee at this season next year, and Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard at the door of the tent, which was behind him. Now Abram and Sarah were old, advanced in days, and the custom of women had ceased with Sarah. And Sarah laughed within herself, saying, Shall I indeed bear, being old, and my Lord is old? And the Lord said to Abram, Why is it that Sarah laughed in herself, saying, Shall I indeed bear, being old? Is anything impossible with God? At this season I will return to thee next year, and Sarah shall have a son. And Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid. And he said to her, Nay, but thou didst laugh. And the men rose up from thence, and looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abram went with them, attending them on their journey. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abram my servant what things I intend to do? But Abram shall surely become a great and populous nation, and in him shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. For I know that he will order his sons and his house after him, and they shall keep the ways of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abram all things, whatever he has spoken to him. And the Lord said, The cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is multiplied before me, and their sins are very great. I will therefore go down and see if they altogether correspond with the cry which comes to me, and if not, that I may know. And the men, having departed thence, came to Sodom, but Abram was yet standing before the Lord. And Abram drew nigh, and said, Wilt thou destroy the righteous with the ungodly? And shall the righteous be as the ungodly? If there be 50 righteous in the city, wilt thou destroy them? Wilt thou not spare the whole place for the sake of the 50 righteous, if they be in it? By no means wilt thou do this thing, to slay the righteous with the ungodly. So the righteous shall be as the ungodly. This shall never be. Thou that judgest the whole earth, shalt thou not do right? And the Lord said, If I shall find in Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will spare the whole place for their sakes. And Abram answered and said, Now I have begun to speak to the Lord, I who am earth and ashes. But if the 50 righteous should be diminished to 45, wilt thou destroy the whole city for lack of 5? And he said, I will not destroy it if I find there 45. And he continued yet to speak to him, and said, But if there should be found there 40? And he said, I will not destroy it for the 40's sake. And he said, I pray, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak, but if there should be found there 30. And he said, I will not destroy it if I find there 30. And he said, Since I have begun to speak to the Lord, but if there should be found there 20. And he said, I will not destroy it for the 20's sake. And he said, I pray, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet once. But if there should be found there 10, and he said, I will not destroy it for the 10's sake. And the Lord departed when he left off speaking to Abram, and Abram returned to his place. That concludes this chapter. Please click Next to continue.